Alright, in this video we are going to be talking about how GPO is boring. Now, before people start clicking off the video being like, oh, another video about how Update 4 hasn't dropped, it's not about Update 4. I mean, I will be mentioning Update 4, but that is not the reason I'm saying GPO is boring at all. I'm not saying it's boring because, oh, no update. Like, I'm talking about the game at its core, the core gameplay and the things we receive every update. So, now that we got that out the way, let me continue. The reason I say GPO is boring is because of the grinding. I felt like that was kind of what people expected. The whole game itself isn't entirely boring. It's just when grinding is kind of the main thing of the game. Not everybody likes PvP. It's pretty boring. Now, that's not to say that the things the devs are doing are unimpressive, which they are, and it'll be very exciting to see those things and experience those things. But it's just like, for example, everybody was very hyped for Marineford, everybody was very hyped for Skype, everybody was very hyped for Fisherman Island. But what happened a week, 2 weeks into the update? We were like, this is the new norm. This is how it goes now. We gotta slave away and grind for hours, hit max level, get the new fruits, get the new stuff, and then go into arena and do all that. Just use the fruits, do all that stuff. So it's like it's very boring even when we get new updates sometimes. Now I'm hoping, I'm gonna mention Update 4. I'm hoping Update 4's content is different enough to where it's not extremely boring. Like, obviously the game is still a bandit beater. I don't mind it too much, right? But I hope they at least throw in some different kinds of quests. Like, Shells had that one cat quest, and that's like still like a little bit of a joke because of that like the cat that you go find, and when you hold it and it looks all funny, it's still like everybody knows that quest because it's just a good quest. But there's no other, I don't think there's any other quests like that. I mean, unless you count getting hockey, which getting observation hockey was a painful experience. I don't think anyone found that fun. And you're the same, I mean, no, I think getting armament hockey was good, but it's also just a bandit beater quest. But yeah, like the core gameplay and the leveling system of the game is just beat people up at different locations, and it's it doesn't really change how you do it. I think the way you grind one location is the same for grinding another location. And I think bosses also suffer from this problem. It's not nearly as bad though. Like there are some actual fun bosses. Like fighting Neptune for the first time was very fun. Fighting a lot of bosses for the first time is very fun, but doing a quest for the first time isn't fun. Like, you just know what you're getting yourself into. It's mainly the location and the things you're working for that you're excited about. But bosses, they are actually pretty fun the first few times. Like, maybe tops. This is absolute maximum in my opinion. But the first 5 times you do a boss, you'll probably be like, oh, this is enjoyable. But after that, there's no way anyone's enjoying the bosses. Like, grinding Eneru back in the day, when you first saw Eneru, you're like, yo, this is dope. This is super, super cool. But now it's just like, oh, it's Eneru. But, yeah, that's pretty much why I'm calling the game boring. The core gameplay of it all is the same. It's very repetitive. Very, very repetitive. It's kind of like the grinding in Blox Routes. Or any One Piece game for that matter. You just go from island to island, beating up NPCs. The only reason GPO is really any different is I feel like it's not as brain dead like in what's it called, in Blox Routes and stuff, because I've played Blox Routes before. You really are just getting them into a horde and doing one move. I think the same can be said for GPO, but that's only if you have a Logia, and getting a Logia or getting some devil fruits is just significantly harder in GPO than it is in Blox Routes. So it's a bit different, but it's really it's generally the same. So yeah, grinding just tends to get repetitive, and I think it's only going to get worse with time. I don't believe Update 4 is going to fix this. I mean, for me personally, I don't mind it too much. The reason I mainly bring it up is well, I do have friends that mind it, but we'll get into that after. The reason I do bring it up is I feel like it would make it harder to get into the game in the future, because one of the reasons I couldn't really find myself getting into Blox Fruits is the max level was incredibly high, and all I could do, like, I put countless hours into it at one point, and like I just made it to the new world. Like, I put so much time, and I was just so dissatisfied because I still was very weak in comparison to other people. And it's just like you grind so much, and sure, you see improvement for yourself, but like in comparison to others, you were still very weak. And I think that GPO will probably suffer the same fate unless they stray away from bandit beating a little. I'm not saying they change the core of all quests, I'm just saying throwing in a little something could help. But like, I think everyone knows Marine farming and CB's farming for XP isn't viable. I have no idea how much XP Dungeons gives, but even that is just bandit beating. It's just waves. It's like same thing too. But yeah. So you're really stuck doing the same thing. So on to what I was saying is my friends. My friends, what ends up happening to them sometimes is a new update will drop. Like, they don't play GPO as frequently as I do or some of my other friends do, but they'll play whenever a new update drops. And then they'll get on, they'll look at all the new stuff, they'll look at the new island, they'll look around, fight, do a couple of quests, like maybe level up 5 or 10 times, and then get off because they're like, I'm just not in the mood to grind. Like, I know what this update is. It's just going to be me grinding for the next few hours, so I'm going to do that later. That shouldn't be someone's perspective on an update. An update should be like, everybody wants to play the update, bro. It's a bunch of new content, but when a bunch of that new content can only be received after hours of grinding, before you can even have the opportunity to grind for the new content, because you got to hit max level first, it's just very annoying experience. Like, I feel like we shouldn't have to, like, we're already grinding enough for the new devil fruits, we're already grinding enough for boss drops. We shouldn't also need to be grinding a lot in a boring manner, at least for our levels. But yeah, bosses, I feel like it's not as bad. I feel like they can get away with it a little bit more grinding bosses, because first of all, it's more of a fun experience. It doesn't feel as like it doesn't feel as brain dead as fighting NPCs. So I don't know if that needs to be changed. I think fighting bosses is generally the same. All the bosses are very different. Like, if you fought Graviato versus if you fought Inaru, going into them thinking they'd be the same, then you'd get completely smacked up. Like, you'd get messed up by either one of them. Or if you went in thinking they were like Neptune is very different, Gravito is very different, Inaru is very different. Like, a lot of bosses are very different. I think the same can probably be said for Crocodile when he becomes a boss. They'll all be very different. So that's not really as much as a problem as just the bandit beating effect that GPO has. But yeah, I know this video is a bit shorter than some of my other videos, but that's really all I wanted to say. It's not this video definitely wasn't about the duration. I mean, that does play a part in how interesting GPO is, but when people are literally just working towards to getting the new stuff, and then either A, getting off the game and not touching it for months, or just going into arena, which I think a majority of the players don't go into arena, but I'm not too positive. It's been so long since we got an update, I don't even remember what players they average on update day, so I don't know. But yeah, the video's not about the duration between update 3 and update 4. It's just about the core gameplay of GPO. So I hope my opinion isn't too controversial or whatever, but I will see you guys next time. Peace.